Welcome, guys. This is Sticks and Storms, and today we're going to start a proper playthrough, of the game Don't Starve. I love this game. I'm a big fan. I love indies and roguelikes, and I love survival. And I've done a few attempts at shooting a playthrough of this game properly, and I don't think I've been doing it justice. There's been a lot of downtime where there's just a lot of collecting of materials, because the way I typically go about the game is Ooh, look, we got all these rocks right here. Okay, lost my train of thought. The way I typically go about this game is I harvest a lot of materials right at the start, and then I establish my base with an abundance of items in my inventory. So I don't have to come back to an area with lots of rock like we see above me here later on in the game to get more rocks. It's more efficient because I've only had to travel across the map once, if that's far away from my base. Likewise, I don't have to go across the map for a source of like trees and pine cones and stuff like that. So anyway, I like to have everything set up around day 8 or whatever, and that requires a lot of resource collecting for the first few days. So what I'm going to do today for you is I'm going to describe what I typically do, and I'm going to do a small portion of that on the screen here. And we're going to basically fast track our way to a winter setup for the game, and just get established as early as possible, basically. So what I would typically be doing right now if I was going for the long haul is I'd be collecting plenty of twigs. I wouldn't stop collecting twigs until I had 2 stacks, basically. I'd only be collecting a little bit of grass, between 10 and 18 grass, I'd say, to last a few days. For just doing wood cutting, well, to last 5 or 6 days of wood cutting and collecting stone and whatnot. So I'd only collect a little bit more grass here. In terms of food to sustain me for the first little while, I would only be taking food that's renewable, so berries off berry bushes and seeds on the ground, because they take no time to collect. I'm not removing something that can't be put back, like a carrot here. So I like to leave those in the ground just in case. So if I am starving, there is a good probability that I'll come across a carrot if I'm in the right biome, and you never know when you might need that. So I'll just leave those in the ground, and you can just survive off berries and seeds for quite a while. And remember, you do start off with full hunger at the beginning of the game, so that's a pretty sound way to go about this. For flint here, I'm only using my flint for wood cutting for the first few days. So you don't need to pick up every piece of flint you see. In fact, we have plenty right now. And you're only picking up flint for, in my system, you're only picking it up for creating axes or hatchets. What's it called? Axe, okay. Had to check that. Because I start off by wood cutting and then I progress to just mining stone, and I do it all in bulk. I do it definitely in bulk. Okay, so we've got a lot of twigs here from these saplings. And we can see that over on the right-hand side, there's a savanna biome. Right now, we're in kind of a mixed, I don't know what all the names of the biomes are, but this is kind of a mixed area over here. That kind of has a lot of what we need, and typically the game spawns you in this area or close to it. And you can see this is Reign of Giants because we have, well, actually you can't see yet, but you will have lots of features from Reign of Giants, like rain, for example. Alright, so if we're lucky, this is a large savanna biome. And why would we be lucky for that? And you can see actually it isn't here, but let's follow this path and see where it goes. Well, you'd be lucky because you'd find beefalo. Beefalo is how we subsist in winter. In this game, it's a very sound strategy for subsisting in winter. Basically, my system is to identify where the beefalo are in the game, and then make a base pretty close to them. They're a mob that's active all year round, and they keep reproducing. Basically, they keep spawning. So you can just pick them off and use them for food. They drop manure, which is good for you can craft farm plots with it. You can use it for fuel for your fire. You can aggro hostile mobs onto beefalo. Okay, we have enough grass now, so let's just go harvest up some wood. You can aggro hostile mobs onto beefalo, let's go and create a hatchet so we don't get caught with our pants down when night falls. And then I want to go find a dense area of trees so we can do some wood cutting overnight and expedite that process of harvesting. There, and we even have a little bit more food with the birch nuts. So yeah, beefalo, you can aggro hostile mobs onto them. They provide, like so for instance, when you get harassed by hounds, as happens periodically in game, you don't have to, you can just let the beefalo handle them. So very useful mob, but they drop a lot of meat, and they're active all year round. So even just with those facts, beefalo is a very sound strategy. They drop 4 meat each, I believe, I might need to be corrected. They at least drop 3 meat upon death, and around 4 beefalo wool. So very, very, very useful mob. Absolutely useful. Okay, let's see where we're going here. We want to go find some more trees. I think this will be good for one night. But we want to find an even more densely forested area because we want to get some charcoal. So I'm hopping from one topic to another here, but you do want to find beefalo, and find that before you establish your base. Now, it might actually, depending on your luck with the random generation that this game introduces, you might need to journey for a while before you actually can find beefalo. So I would recommend that if you find a path like this, you follow it. It would be counterproductive for the developers to randomly, or to make a path that goes nowhere. I believe that their random generation follows a path. So usually one path will lead you through 1 or 2 biomes, or possibly to just different structures that may be useful. So follow the path, and just, at least you know you're not going right into the ocean, the odds are better that it's going to lead you somewhere. So definitely do that. So it's our first night. We have a lot of resources. I like to park myself right by some trees so I can spend the night wood cutting, and even if I can't see the logs when they fall and the pine cones, I can still just pick them up later. And as my fire dwindles down, and I'm not too concerned about sanity at this point because it's the beginning of the game and I started with full. As the fire dwindles down, I can just work from the trees from outside to in. And maybe put one in. I mean, I could put one in here, so I'll just do that just for demonstration's sake. And I also like to use this time to cook food. It's very opportune to do that.